large group of people. It could turn very volatile if you move law enforcement in there in the wrong way and turn what is just a bunch of people having fun watching cars burn into a massive confrontation and altercation between officers and demonstrators.
So I just have to say that if you dial back time and go to Friday, if immigration raids had not happened here, we would not have the disorder that went on last night. I will tell you that it is peaceful now, but we do not know where and when the next raids will be. That is the concern, because people in the city have a rapid response network. If they see ICE, they go out and they protest. And so it's just a recipe for pandemonium that is completely unnecessary. Nothing was happening here. Los Angeles was peaceful before Friday.
Rioting is officially back in the United States of America, folks, and this time these riots are meant to target ICE agents and anybody and everyone who is trying to enforce immigration law in this nation. Now, of course, a lot of people in the mainstream media are speaking out of both sides of their mouth in this particular case, also in the left-wing alternative media, where they're trying to make the argument that the riots in Los Angeles aren't actually happening, but the riots, those very same ones that aren't happening, are in reality being caused by President Trump deploying the National Guard to fight the riots that aren't occurring, but of course the Trump administration is causing. Now, this might sound very, very confusing for you guys out there in the audience, unless you've been here before, you've seen the left utilize all these different various tactics to tell you that reality is just a myth, your imagination, and of course you shouldn't believe your lying eyes. And that's what we're going to talk about today. But before we do, I want to thank everybody who supports this channel via actualjusticewarrior.com/join.
Give me the money. Give me the money. Okay?
It's how unusual and how unprecedented the size and the scale and the scope of the immigration enforcement operations that took place in Los Angeles, starting with right here at this Home Depot in Cypress Park at 7 o'clock, 7:15, 7:30 on Friday morning, were and why they led to those protests. The big picture is Los Angeles is a so-called majority-minority city and a majority-minority state. There are more people of color that live in Los Angeles than white people at this point, and many of those people are undocumented. By some counts, 10% of the population of L.A. County, one of the largest counties, the largest county by population in the United States, is undocumented, maybe as many as 1 million people. Those people are our neighbors, our coworkers, our classmates, our friends, our parishioners, fellow parishioners in churches. They are part of the fabric of the city of Los Angeles. And not in the last many decades under Democratic nor Republican presidents, despite the fact that you had presidents with big deportation programs, Democratic and Republican, as you have so often reported, have we seen the type of immigration enforcement we saw play out on the streets of Los Angeles on Friday?
So one of the narratives that the left-wing media is trying to put forward is that these riots ended up starting, or peaceful protests, overwhelmingly peaceful protests, ended up starting as a result of the Trump administration doing no good, not very nice immigration enforcement, including raids of Home Depot in order to arrest day laborers. But the fact is, this is wholly untrue. In reality, the Trump administration had made it very clear that they want sanctuary cities to help them, aid them in getting rid of the most violent, most predatory criminals that are in this nation that are currently and actively being protected by these very sanctuary cities. However, they have refused, and as a consequence of their refusal, Tom Homan has made it 100% clear that they are going to do ICE raids, and if they sweep up other illegal immigrants, other people who are here illegally, so they are eligible for deportation, who have not committed additional crimes like the most serious criminals that they initially wanted to target, then guess what? They're going to go too. So this is all 100% on the sanctuary city policies of these Democratic-run cities, and this is the logical consequences of their defend the criminal first kind of mindset. So everybody who tells you that it started with a Home Depot raid is completely wrong. It started with these people in these blue cities protecting violent criminals. But of course, we end up seeing the violence immediately emerge after these raids ended up happening. We saw videos on Friday night of people trying to block off ICE vehicles, hurling stuff at those vehicles, and of course, one individual who very stupidly tried to hold back an SUV and ended up getting hit by a car, but not run over as the mainstream media ended up reporting.
There you go. There's the damage to the cop cars, some AXN. There, you can, yep. Zoom in on the cops. There you go.
Hey, my G.
Oh, damn.
Oh, wow.
Dropped a scooter.
You guys, did I get that?
Yeah, you did. You did. Yeah, you got it.
Someone tossed a scooter.
Now, of course, it is also true that left-wing politicians like Karen Bass, like Gavin Newsom, think that this rioting will advantage them politically because it is them standing up to the evil, bad wrongdoers in the Trump administration. So we have embarrassing clip after embarrassing clip of these politicians going on TV talking about how they're gonna fight back, and Gavin Newsom saying, "Oh, Trump, just arrest me. I'm ready to be a martyr."
He's been here 10 years. The fear, the horror. The hell is this guy? Come after me, arrest me. Let's just get it over with. Tough guy. You know, I don't give a damn. But I care about my community. I care about this community. The hell are they doing? These guys need to grow up. They need to stop. And we need to push back. And I'm sorry to be so clear, but that kind of bloviating is exhausting. So, Tom, arrest me. Let's go.
For the cause of the illegal immigrants, because of course these people matter more than citizens. And in reality, for those of you out there in the audience who think that's a hyperbolic statement, that is in fact the case. One of the reasons why California and a bunch of these left-wing areas want to draw in illegal immigrants is because although these people cannot vote in elections, they do count towards proportioning congressional districts. So they of course end up aiding and abetting Democrats in getting their own power. And essentially what you end up with is an underclass of people that get people more representation than they deserve in these different various states, while at the same time the liberal elite can continue to vote for Democratic policies. This is the dirty little secret that nobody is talking about in this particular story, and make no mistake about it, this is 100% what it's about. However, the other talking points that these pro-rioting people end up bringing up are so absurd, so stupid and ridiculous. I just have to play my favorite one for you, which is the rioting is only happening in certain parts of Los Angeles, and there's a bunch of parts of the city that aren't affected.
Then also with all this, I do want to say, especially regarding the way that Trump is talking about the pictures and the videos, and this is important for every situation, when you see something, do not just assume, okay, well that is definitely what's going on, and it's what's going on everywhere. Right? I get it when it comes to news and attention. If it bleeds, it leads. Right? It's easy to see some videos or some pictures and go, okay, so it was just widespread lawlessness and chaos. That's all it was. But it is also very important to remember that as far as we can tell, most of the people that were showing up and protesting were doing so peacefully. And away from these few areas of clashes, life was going on as normal for most people in LA.
Now I want to make something 100% clear. It is certainly true that not every part of the city of Los Angeles is currently under crazy rioting. Not every single square inch of the city is currently experiencing the violence and the left-wing agitators tearing it up. I want you guys to understand that that is 100% technically a factual statement, but it's also completely irrelevant and one of the dumbest talking points I've ever heard, and I'm just going to give you a few examples of how stupid it actually is. Let's say you decided that the story of Hurricane Katrina was not how devastating the hurricane was for the city of New Orleans, but it was how in most of the states in the Union, it didn't even rain that day. So I guess Hurricane Katrina is not a big deal because it's not the entirety of the country, because again, think about all the parts of the country where it didn't rain. What if you got diagnosed with cancer in your lungs and then the doctor came out and told you, look, it's not all that serious because in reality, a bunch of your other vital organs don't have cancer. So if you look at it in its totality, the cancer only represents a small part of the issues that only one of your organs is actually having. Again, What if we talked about 9/11 in this way? I know a lot of people focus on the two towers and Building 7 and the strike on the Pentagon, but what about all the other buildings in New York and DC that were completely unaffected by the attacks? I mean, think about all the other planes that took off on that day that didn't have hijackers. Isn't that the real story? Isn't that the real issue? Don't you see how stupid this talking point is? And yet it is repeated time and time again as if it means something. And by the way, this is a retread of a talking point from the Black Lives Matter riots. I remember a bunch of idiots were getting at me on Twitter because I talked about how they declared a state of emergency, a riot in the city of Portland for 100 days straight because there was rioting that largely targeted the federal courthouse in that particular city. And other people would say, well, that's only a couple of blocks in Portland that have unbelievable, ridiculous rioting. It's not the whole entire city of Portland. Each and every person's house isn't being torn up. That's not the biggest deal if you really think about it. It's absurd. It's insane. I mean, again, the footage of these riots is completely indefensible. These people are hurling stuff at police vehicles. They're chucking stuff off the highway, putting people in danger. There's injuries. There's looting of a Jordan store. But again, that's not every sneaker in the city of Los Angeles currently being stolen, so I guess it's no big deal. And of course, this is all because the left doesn't think the rules apply to them. This is all because the left is constantly defended in their violent actions by their politicians and by their media, and they constantly have cover being run for them by all these different various people in the mainstream media who are telling you that it's not 100% of Los Angeles that is currently experiencing rioting, as if that is the standard, as if riots need to be omnipresent in your city for them to be something that's bad, for them to be something that needs to be dealt with, and isolated pockets of rioting in certain major areas is just something that we need to overlook because that's part of a growing society. Now, of course, we also have video of these migrant rioters or rioters who may or may not be migrants setting fires in the city of Los Angeles, because wildfires haven't done enough damage to that particular city. So in protest, you're going to burn your own city down, probably kill additional people if those fires end up spreading, all because you don't like the fact that America has laws. You have a bunch of people flying foreign flags and burning the American flag. And by the way, there's a bunch of different ridiculous, stupid dialogue about this on social media where people are saying, well, Irish pubs have Irish flags, Greek restaurants have Greek flags, and by the way, Italian neighborhoods like Little Italy, they have Italian flags. Well, nobody would give a damn if there were a Mexican flag on top of a Mexican restaurant, or if people had a Mexican flag in order to express some kind of support for their heritage, but in reality, these people are allegedly protesting against being deported back to nations like Mexico. They're burning the American flag, talking about how America is a Nazi state, but they don't want to be booted out of the Nazi state, which makes no sense. Look, I'm half Latino. I may not be Mexican. My Latino half is Puerto Rican, but I got a lot of love for Latin American peoples. And when they come to this country and they bring their culture, but become citizens of this nation because, they actually come the proper way, we have no issue with them. Nobody does. But the idea that you're going to come to our nation, tear it up, talk about how horrible it is, demand welfare from us, and then burn our American flag and talk about how it's some kind of Nazi regime, all because you don't want to be sent back to the very nation that your flag that you're holding up represents. It's absurd. It's asinine. It's ridiculous. It's absolute madness. And yes, if you're here illegally, flying your foreign flag, burning the American flag, destroying vehicles, and all sorts of other ridiculous things, you should be sent back to that nation. Again, if you love it so much, congratulations, you just won a one-time only free plane ticket back to your home nation. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Again, this is so absurd and asinine. Guess what, leftists? You lost the election. You absolutely got demolished, and the polling on this couldn't be more clear. Trump, before this, was above water. Before the riots, before all this terror being rained upon the regular, ordinary people of Los Angeles, people supported mass deportations. And on the particular issue, and by the way, CNN is reporting this, of going into communities and raiding them for illegal immigrants, he's also above water.
In his first term, Trump was way, way, way underwater at minus 21 points. But look at this. He's up over 20 points. Now, in the aggregate, he is in positive territory at plus 1 point on his net approval rating. Some other polls even have it a little bit higher than that. There is no issue on which Trump is doing so much better than he was in his first term, more than the issue of immigration. No wonder the Times has written up the way that he is. Trump is begging for a fight on this because he knows what he's doing so far is working with the American electorate.
Where does immigration rank on issues for him? How is he doing compared to other issues?
Yeah, so I think what's so important is it is his top issue so far, and the reason it is his top issue is because take a look at the individual nuggets in here. Why are people approving of Trump on immigration, approve of these different immigration actions, while Trump's administration's program to deport those here illegally? Look at this, 54% approval. How about agents searching your hometown for those that they think are here illegally? Again, positive territory here, above 50% for Donald Trump. So it's not just on the broad issue of immigration where Trump is doing well, it's on the specifics. When you dive into the issues, Trump is above 50% and his actions are above 50%, at least with those most directly connected to what's going on right now out in Los Angeles. Yet the American electorate believe that the Democrats don't have a clue on the issue of immigration. I mean, you could just take it here. Closer to trust more in immigration, Democrats versus Republicans. Got 3 different polls for you across the board. They all tell the same story. Republicans lead on the issue of immigration. You see it here, CBS plus 6. You see it here, CNN plus 6. You see it here, Ipsos, even bigger, plus 19. No matter what poll you look at, no matter which way you cut it, the American public is with the Republicans. The American public is with Donald Trump, and to a much greater extent than they were in term number 1. And it's not just on the broad issue of immigration, it's on the specifics as well, in which the American public is with Donald Trump and the Republicans. And that is why Donald Trump is eager to take on this fight and eager for those scenes out of Los Angeles. Start off on the fact that immigrant citizens, immigrant voters, foreign-born voters have gone tremendously to the right on this issue in 2024 and 2025 versus where they were in 2020. Closest to or trust more in immigration. You go back to 2020. Democrats, get this, held a 32-point lead on this issue. Immigrant voters were in the Democratic camp. Jump forward to 2024, 2025. Look at that shift, a 40-point shift to the right among immigrant voters. Republicans now lead on this issue by 8 points over Democrats, more so than any other group that I could find. The group of voters who became more hawkish on immigration were in fact immigrants themselves, immigrants who are registered to vote in this country.
So what we're seeing right here is a bunch of radical far leftists, the same people that were the Antifa rioters, the BLM rioters, absent the black people, which, by the way, credit to them for not giving a damn about this and not showing up to these protests, to the shock and chagrin of many leftists who are now angry at them for not showing up to support the very same people who come in and undercut their wages disproportionately, as if nobody could understand why that makes perfect logical sense. But these are the same people who, again, were in the pro-Palestine riots, who are shutting down traffic over that, all just recycling the same exact anti-American talking points and painting new flags on it, new flags that represent the anti-American sentiment, while of course burning the American flag. And one of the funniest things is that apparently organizers started handing out American flags, telling people not to burn them recently because they realized that it looks absolutely terrible, that you have all these violent criminals wearing ankle monitors, waving foreign flags, demanding to not be sent back to the countries that those foreign flags come from, and nobody's going to be fooled by that either. Make no mistake about it. These are anti-American monsters talking about how it's stolen land and how the colonialists live here, when in reality, they're waving the flags of Latin American countries, which are all colonies of Spain, which presumably would all be on stolen land, but they never talk about that because the whole shtick about stolen land is just about being anti-white, being anti-Western, being anti-American, and there's no logical basis to it. So yeah, to hell with everybody who defends these riots. It ain't 2020 anymore. The National Guard is being deployed. We are going to stop you. You are going to be arrested, and hopefully you are held accountable for your criminality. The left wing believes, and by the way, they have been proven right about this time and time again, that they can get away with any kind of political violence, any kind of rioting, and it's about 10 years running straight of them doing this completely unchallenged, while the 1 to 2 instances of right-wingers doing violence, doing riots like January 6th, of course, resulted in nationwide manhunts. And by the way, I've made it 100% clear that everybody who did violence or attacked police officers on January 6th was in the wrong. They were rioters. They should be held accountable, but make no mistake about it, I am fully aware of the asymmetric prosecution prosecution, the complete double standard that we have where the left is allowed to go crazy, and I'm sick of it. I'm tired of it, and these people need to be held to account. So yeah, you don't get to riot because you lost an election. You don't get to riot because the law is being enforced, and the idea that we are going to just let you take Los Angeles hostage or any major city hostage, saying that you're going to break it, you're going to break more laws if we dare enforce some of our laws, is never going to work. I hope the Trump administration fights back. I hope these Democrats face the consequences of this, because this is a losing issue for them, and they deserve to be humiliated based on this. But you know what? Those are just my thoughts related to the rioting. I want to know what you guys think down in the comments below. If you like this video, then show them by leaving a like, subscribe for more content, follow me on the social medias, support me via the support links in the description of this videos. This has been me talking about the ICE riots. Till next time.